Welcome to the second episode of Module 5. Today, we're building our first machine learning model from scratch. We'll move beyond preset weights and teach the machine to find its own, using just a few lines of NumPy. By the end of this video, you'll understand three core concepts: the linear model formula, a loss function to measure performance, and how gradient descent acts as a learning loop to nudge your model toward accuracy. In previous modules, we used predefined weights with matrix multiplication. Today, we're taking off those training wheels. You'll build a model that learns weights entirely on its own, preparing you for the inner workings of future functions. We are working with a standardized dataset containing three features: tenure, order count, and recency, to predict our target variable, the order amount. Standardizing keeps our learning loop stable. At its core, a linear model is simple. We use a formula where predictions are calculated by the feature matrix multiplied by weights, plus a bias term. Think of the weights as knobs we adjust to minimize our errors. Setting up the model in code is straightforward. We import NumPy, initialize our weights randomly, and calculate initial, albeit meaningless, predictions. From here, we need a way to measure how wrong we are and how to improve. To improve our model, we must first quantify our failures. We use a single number called loss to measure performance. The goal of training is to drive this loss score as close to zero as possible. We calculate mean squared error, or MSE, in three steps: first finding the errors, then squaring them, and finally taking the mean. This results in a clean, singular metric for model performance. Why square the errors? It prevents positive and negative errors from canceling each other out, penalizes large mistakes more heavily, and ensures the function remains smooth, which is essential for mathematical optimization. Implementing MSE in NumPy takes just 3 lines of code. By wrapping this logic into a function, we create a reusable building block for our machine learning tasks. When you plot loss against weight values for linear regression, you get a convex shape, like a bowl. Our training objective is to find the bottom of this bowl, even while effectively blindfolded. Gradient descent is our process for finding the bottom. We feel the slope to identify the downhill direction, take a small step, and repeat the process until we converge on the optimal weights. To calculate slope without complex calculus, we use the finite difference trick. By nudging weights up and down by a tiny amount, we observe the change in loss and calculate the slope through simple arithmetic. The learning rate dictates our step size. Too large, and we overshoot the minimum. Too small, and progress becomes frustratingly slow. Finding the right balance is key to effective training. To wrap up, remember that choosing the right learning rate is crucial. Overshooting leads to exploding loss, while a learning rate that is too low results in an impractical, crawling pace of improvement. Now that we have every piece of our model, let's assemble it into the full training loop. Read this code line by line to see how the model, the loss, the slope probe, and the optimization step come together. Running those 200 iterations produces our first emotional result, a loss curve that drops and then levels off. This line isn't a metaphor. It is the model's performance improving step by step. You just built gradient descent. A well-behaved loss curve has 3 phases: a steep drop, a flattening middle, and a plateau. Learning to read these phases is like a doctor reading a chart. Soon, we'll watch a second curve appear, signaling when our model starts overfitting. Real libraries don't use finite differences, which are slow. They use calculus to compute exact slopes in one go. While our manual approach is conceptually robust and great for learning, the calculus approach is simply the fast lane to the same goal. Once training is complete, we can inspect our weights. We find that tenure and order count have positive relationships with predicted value, while recency has a negative one, confirming the domain knowledge we uncovered earlier in our correlation audit. Even when weights make intuitive sense, remember to keep your causal reasoning helmet on. Weights describe the model's arithmetic and feature influence on predictions, but they don't prove causation. Correlation remains a separate conversation. It is essential to distinguish between what weights tell you and what they don't. They show influence and direction, but they do not prove that one feature causes a specific outcome or explain how the model would behave in a new population. Finally, we perform a sanity check by plotting our predictions against actual values. A perfect model would form a diagonal line. Our scattered cloud reveals the model's limitations. A linear model can only approximate reality with straight lines. Linear models are straight-line tools in a curved world. They have no concept of interactions between features, but they remain powerful, interpretable, and effective baselines. Every advanced model you build in the future will have to outperform these results. Here is the full 20-line model assembled for you. By writing it out from scratch, you have demystified the process that libraries like scikit-learn hide inside just 2 lines of code. Every concept in this module has been a through line from previous lessons. From the squaring of deviations to matrix multiplication, you have been building toward this moment of understanding the mechanics of learning. Before moving on, ensure you can define these terms: linear model, random initialization, MSE, the loss bowl, gradient descent, learning rate, the loss curve, and the importance of maintaining causal humility. If you remember only 3 things, let them be these. Models are guesses with knobs. Learning is just turning those knobs to minimize loss. And always keep your causal reasoning helmet on. This table shows exactly how your 20-line code maps to the automated methods in scikit-learn. Understanding this mapping is key to knowing what happens when you call functions like fit or predict. Everything we did today serves as the foundation for the next episodes. By building this by hand, you are now prepared to fully grasp the power and the limitations of the tools we will use next. Now that we have covered the concepts, let's look at your hands-on deliverable. You have a notebook with 2 parts, a guided build of the model, and a second part where you bring your own data to retrain it and report your findings. Before you submit, use this checklist to ensure you meet all requirements. This includes properly loading your data, using the correct random seed, defining a clean MSE function, and completing the training loop to produce your final insights. Watch out for common pitfalls, such as forgetting to standardize your features, using a learning rate that is too high, or accidentally making causal claims. Remember, the model reflects its internal arithmetic, not the underlying world. This map provides a visual summary of the entire gradient descent loop. From the bowl-shaped loss landscape to the falling loss curve, this visualization summarizes the core cycle used in all modern machine learning models. While we used mean-squared error for its smooth properties and familiarity, other loss functions exist. This table helps you understand why we chose MSE for this regression task, compared to others like mean absolute error. To help orient you, this episode is the second in Module 5. It acts as the conceptual anchor, providing the necessary foundation for the more advanced topics we will explore throughout the rest of this module. The 20 lines you have built today are yours forever. You now own a working understanding of how supervised algorithms train, how loss measures performance, and the physical intuition behind gradient descent. Looking ahead, the next episode will show how this ceremony is handled by scikit-learn. You will see how these 20 lines of code collapse into 2, allowing you to focus on results while remembering what happens underneath. In summary, a model is a set of guesses with knobs, and learning is the process of turning those knobs to minimize loss. This foundational cycle is at the heart of everything we do in machine learning. The ultimate takeaway is that every model starts as a mistake, and training is simply the process of becoming less wrong. You have mastered this process today, and you are ready to move on to the next episode. This program was brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team and Technovative AI.